Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Kingdom Hearts. We're starting this episode off in Wonderland because we're gonna get some treasure chests. We're gonna get some things that we've missed in a lot of different areas. First things first, in the Mad Hatter area in Wonderland, we're missing a few chests here, especially that Dalmatian's chest that was important to get. This is going to be a very clip show-like episode. Next up, in the Bazaar Room, there is a green trinity inside of this fireplace that we never actually went back to and got. We're going to try and get all the trinities, all the chests, and all the Dalmatians in this episode. I accidentally, somehow spawned enemies during the trinity cutscene. I didn't even know that was possible. In there's a mithril shard. Also, in the Bazaar Room, you can farm a lot of the basic elemental shards. And also in the Bazaar Room, if you run into a group of shadows, you can actually spawn the unique enemy for this world. There's a unique enemy in every world that you need to farm in order to get synthesis items in Final Mix. They exist here in the Bazaar Room in Wonderland. We will need to farm them. Basically, you have to defeat 3 waves of these shadow enemies. So I dumbly think that this is the last shadow, actually. And I'm like, oh, okay, get up here, get away from them. And then there's a whole other wave. After you defeat these waves of shadows, it will spawn the Giga Shadow. Now, it's recommended that you have the highest level arrow by the time you get here, because the thing about the Giga Shadow is that if they hit you once, you lose the ability to farm them. Although, weirdly, I don't think that that's entirely true, because I get hit twice in this fight, as you can see. I don't know why it let me keep doing it. They're just supposed to, disappear if you get hit. I don't know what happened, to be perfectly honest. But after you defeat them both, you'll get a Fury... Or defeat all of them, you'll get a Fury Stone. You might actually possibly get another Fury Stone as well, but it's a toss-up. What we're also going to do is we're going to head to the rabbit hole area. So we're going to need to make ourselves bigger, of course. We haven't done this in a long while. And once we make ourselves bigger, we can head out to the rabbit hole area through the door. And at the end of this hallway, there's going to be a group of enemies that spawns. There's actually 2 items we missed here. There's a lot of enemies, which is why I sped all this up. After you defeat all the enemies, you will get a chest that spawns. If you do this after all of the new enemies appear in all the different worlds, you'll get a Mega Elixir. If you do it earlier, when you're first here, it'll be a much smaller reward. I forget what it is. There's also a Grinning Trinity here, which contains an elixir. Moving on from here, we go into the Sideways Bazaar Room, which leads us to this Sideways Lotus Forest painting. Inside of here, we have the White Trinity for this world, and this one's actually really, really important for us because the chest in this world contains a Keyblade. It is the Lady Luck Keyblade. It's super important because it's one of the few that actually raises our MP quite a bit. It brings it from 6 to 8. So it's really, really good at that. Also in this room, you can do Thunder on these flowers. I don't know why we never did it before. And you can get yourself more Dalmatians here. This was also the last Dalmatians that I got. This is a little out of order because I want to show the worlds in order. But that's when we got that achievement, or trophy, I guess. Next up, in Deep Jungle, we can head all the way back to the Cavern of Hearts in the waterfall area, where we sealed the keyhole at the very end of it, and their White Trinity is right in front of the tree. It's a little annoying to get back here, to be honest. I hate that they put it all the way back here. And inside of here is an orichalcum, I believe. Yes. Okay. Next up, we want to go to the treetops. This is right next to the tunnel area. There's a green trinity here hidden among the leaves. Thankfully, there's no enemies that spawn here, but you can just really simply press triangle until you find it, and you get a mithril shard. If you continue into the treehouse area, after equipping things to make your MP higher, this is why we went and got the Lady Luck Keyblade. So I'm equipping everything I have to raise my MP by a little bit. I don't have like all of the best items for this, but I'm equipping as much as possible, so I'm gonna grab stuff from Donald, actually, so that I can actually make my MP as high as possible. I'm also realizing now that I never re-equipped a bunch of abilities Sora had. Oh well, I'll do that later. So here we go. Get all this on. And now we go to the treehouse via the climbing trees. If you go to the treehouse and enemies spawn, which they're about to, just leave the area and come back. There's no reason to keep going. You want to go in until there's no enemies here. If there are no enemies, it means that the unique enemy has spawned here. Basically, it's white mushrooms that are unique to this area. There are 3 of them located around the area that you need to use stop on. I realized I don't have it on the shortcut. I was like, oh, whoops. Let's go back and re-customize this. We'll put stop on our shortcut list. Sorry about the audio in this episode. Every now and then, like, my capture was freaking out just because I was doing so many captures this day. You get 3 tech points for casting stop on one of them. They'll drop a bunch of MP orbs. There are 3 of them in this area that you need to find. So one is typically down at the bottom here, either on this tree trunk path or on the netting. Another one, typically, the only place I've ever seen it, to be perfectly honest, is over on the boat here that's hanging off the side. So you actually need to glide to it. There's also a treasure chest over here that we didn't get way back when because we didn't have glide yet. So cast stop on it. It'll be all happy. Give you some MP orbs. We're also going to go ahead and pick up what's in the treasure chest, which I believe is just like a mithril shard or something. It's just, oh, mithril. And then we go back to the treehouse. And the last one is either like out on the outer balcony on top of the treehouse, like the actual top, or up in the rafters here. I got lucky and it's up in the rafters and I don't have to look too far for it. I'm like, wait a minute, I just lost it? Where is it? It's got to be inside of the house, and then I see it up in the rafters. If it's on top of the house, it can get a little bit annoying because these guys will disappear eventually on you. So you are a tiny bit timed with them, but usually it's not that bad. After you do the last one, you'll actually hear the audio cue. You'll hear something spawn underneath of you. This is the unique enemy, the like pink agricus or whatever it's called. It's a huge mushroom. Basically, what you want to do, and this is the reason why we have a bunch of things that raise our MP, you want to lock onto its head. It has 2 points to lock onto. And then you want to cast stop on it and arrow on Sora. If you have Arrowga, it'll actually hit this thing. So while it's stopped, you want to hit it as much as possible. Some people say just use your regular attacks. Other people say use Ragnarok because it does like 25 hits per thing. Whatever way you decide to do it, after the stop runs out, you'll start getting items, money, and a bunch of tech points from it. Watch and count the tech points. However many tech points you did leads to what kind of items you get. Now, I don't actually know why I didn't get it, but we were supposed to get a Serenity Power there because it typically drops at around 40. I guess I just got really unlucky. In Olympus Coliseum, so we will need to grind that pink thing a lot. In Olympus Coliseum, there is a green trinity right in front of the scoreboards, and there is a white trinity right in the middle of the entrance area. We just went back here to grab these because we hadn't done it yet. Inside of this is a new staff for Donald. It's not very great, but we do need it to complete everything. It's the Violetta here. It's just like a better striking staff, but the Meteor Strike is better than the Violetta anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know why it's so like out of the way to get that one. Anyways, in Agrabah, we're going to run into the unique enemy at the palace gates. First things first, we're just going to bypass that. If you go into the palace gates area and there's no enemies here, but there's a bunch of pots, don't start hitting the pots. We'll get to that in a second. There's also a couple of chests up here. There's Dalmatians here and another chest that we're missed up at the top here, but we needed high jump and glide to get them anyway, so. You want to make sure that you have guard equipped for this unique enemy, because you cannot actually fight this enemy without the guard ability. You just cannot. Oh, I'm sorry that the audio here is a little out of sync. Oops. What you want to do is you want to run up against the pots that are here. Oh, right, and we want to make sure that we have fire. Fire just makes it a little bit easier to hit it. So, as you can see, pushing against that leftmost pot, it doesn't move. However, this one does. Fire! You want to make sure you don't hit the pot that doesn't move. If it doesn't move, it means that is the enemy. Every other pot, as you can see, moves and is fair game. So you can see here, I realize after a moment that I'm like, wait a minute, I could have just started hitting these because I know which one doesn't move. Only one of these pots will not move. But I guess I'm just showing it to you so that you get the idea. Right? So each one of these doesn't move. You can use fire to really pinpoint accurately. Swinging your keyblade means that you might accidentally hit the one that doesn't move, but if you get lucky like me and it's in a corner, you can just strike all of them. Once you're done all of those, you'll get 100 tech points, and now you can activate the pot spider. So this pot spider is interesting. It will throw these globs of darkness down. It'll do this 5 times or 4 times, and then it'll do a rush attack. You have to guard during the rush attack. As you can see there, I did manage to tech and not really get hit by it, but that does not count. You have to guard against this. It's a little difficult to actually get the timing right. So this enemy will probably take you a few times to get really used to it. Don't run into the spots that appear on the ground, because they will hurt, and they actually hurt quite a bit. It's really annoying. It stops you in the middle of your tracks. It also stops your combo, which is really annoying. You'll see why in a moment. So I'll get it in a second, I swear. It's invincible until you guard. So just keep moving on avoiding the thing until you can guard against it. There you go. You'll get tech points and you'll knock it over. Start attacking it. Unfortunately, if it's on top of the shadow globs, you won't get as many hits in as you possibly could, but yeah. After this, it will change up its pattern after one time doing that. It will start to attack after every other glob, I believe. It'll start doing a melee attack right next to it, and alternating between dashing and doing a melee attack. The melee attack actually has quite a bit of range, so don't think that you can just get away from it by being... See, it hit me and it was real far there. Try and guard it. You can guard its melee attacks as well. You can spam guard if it helps. Once it goes down, start hitting it. You only get one combo before it's invincible again. And during the last phase, it will go to the center and start spewing out a bunch of darkness. This darkness will rain down from the sky, and then it will start attacking you physically. Try and get it down as quick as you can. You'll get the mithril stone once you defeat it here. It also drops quite a bit of money, which is nice. Next up, in the storage room in Agrabah, there's a green trinity that we missed here. You can just go straight from the Gumi ship here. I don't know why I missed this one. Well, I guess we didn't have green trinity at this point. Maybe not. Or maybe we did, I don't know. AP up, so I used that immediately. We also have, in the main plaza area, a chest that we missed all the way up here. And apparently a soldier that I didn't kill. This chest up here, it's just a, little extra item for us. A mithril. Next up, we go to the Cave of Wonders. In this entrance area here, you're going to want to kill all of the enemies. And I mean all of them, because there's a lot of stuff to do here. So yeah, after you've done that, you can glide over to this platform here. Super glide is nice for that. You get dalmatians. Really dumbly, I would go into the next room. I should have gotten something else there, but in the next room, you can fly over to this pot in the middle of the room that has a yellow trinity in front of it. You can actually get the item that this thing hides without using the yellow trinity, but you need to activate the trinity in order to get the achievement anyway. There's also a white trinity in the entrance room that I just walked right past, so don't forget to get that after you defeat all the enemies here as well. And I think there's just an Ifrit belt in this. It's nothing too great. It's alright. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So, to get the item that the... Oh, we're not there yet. There's also a little item on the pedestal here that I missed in the center room. I forget what this room is called. But, onto the yellow trinity item. If you go into the silent chamber down below, and you go up this waterfall, you will now be able to see where the pot has fallen. You go up these stairs, and to the right, there is a pot and an area that you couldn't reach before. You actually can reach that area with high jump and glide without activating the pot. Activate the monkey crystal, it'll open this area to the left, and we can just head right down there. So yeah, you can in fact get these items without activating the trinity. So you get dalmatians. Very important that we get that chest. Okay, on to Monstro. In Chamber 6, inside of Monstro, on the lower level, there is the White Trinity. I cut out all of the, like, traveling and all of the enemies here, because it's a lot. So Chamber 6, White Trinity gets you a Dark Matter. In the throat of Monstro is a Blue Trinity. Careful not to go too high up into this, because more enemies will spawn, which will stop you from getting the Trinity. There's a Mithril Shard here, nothing, like, super fancy. In Chamber 5, after you defeat all the enemies on this bottom area, and there are a lot that spawn, so, you know, it's going to be quite a lot. In Chamber 5, there is the other Blue Trinity that we missed. I can't believe I missed these Trinities way back when. And this was actually the very last Trinity that I got in this recording session. Again, all this is out of order, so we're about to get the achievement Best Friend for getting all the Trinities. I will keep showing where all the other Trinities are, don't worry. Also in Monstro, in the throat area, two things can happen. You can see these blue guys. These are the bouncing ones, so you typically want to use arrow on Sora, and if you get next to them, you can bounce them a couple of times. It's still really hard to do, but, you know, you can go for that if you want. It's really hard. I don't know about anyone else. I find it really hard to do. I think you can get an item for bouncing him 100 times, but frankly, it's just not worth it, in my opinion. You don't need it to do any of the synthesis. In the stomach, though, above the throat, you can run into this enemy called the Grand Ghost. This is interesting. You cannot hurt him. He is immune to normal attacks, but if you get close to him, you can throw items at him. I recommend using elixirs. So you can see he shows up as a target once you get close. And he has a chance to drop frost stones every time you use an elixir. So I recommend always using elixirs. If you're really lucky like me, once you defeat him, you will get a frost stone, and 2 elixirs, you can get 2 more frost stones, meaning you'll get 3 total. In Atlantica, from the King's Throne Room, defeat all the enemies in this area. And then there's a White Trinity in the middle here. This is the only thing that we're missing in Atlantica. There's not even a unique enemy here because it's the same one that we saw in Deep Jungle, and it's easier to deal with at Deep Jungle, so I don't recommend coming here. Or a cow come in that chest, and we leave forever and never come back. In Neverland, on the deck of the ship, you can run into the unique enemy. It's this big floating dude. He is super fast. It's really hard to catch up to it. It will also shoot other enemies at you, which will drain your money. Just like get rid of a bunch of it. So make sure that you don't really care about your money too much once you're at this point. Make sure you've bought everything you needed to. I had at this point, so it wasn't a big deal. It's such a problem to deal with. He's so fast. If you're really lucky, you can tech away some of those missiles and it's not that bad. But just like sort of try and get him stuck against the mast of the ship or something like that and just wail on it. It doesn't have a ton of HP, but man is it annoying. If it goes out all the way to the ocean, be careful, because you do have to kill this thing and it drops an item that we need. If you kill it over the side of the ship, make sure you have Treasure Magnet, because if you don't, that Dazzling Stone item will drop right into the ocean, and you will not get it, and it will be a really annoying thing. Also on the deck of the ship, there is another White Trinity, and I believe this has Dalmatians inside of it. Am I right? Did I remember correctly? I don't know. Hey, Dalmatians. Now, in the ship's hold, if you go all the way up to the top, on top of the rafters, there is a chest that we missed here, which you can only really get after you have access to the permanent flying. Not even high jump will help you here. You get another chest with Dalmatians. After you kill the like weird enemies that spawn in front of this door in the ship's hold, there's a yellow trinity. This is probably the most important trinity that we will do in the whole game. Inside of here, kill all the enemies that spawn. There's not that many, it's just a couple of dark balls. And grab this plethora of chests that we find. So there would be an orichalcum here. Dark matter, I believe these are also Dalmatians. And on top, this is the best chest. This is the upgrade for Arrow. So this is where I got Aurora that you saw me use earlier. Again, out of order recording stuff. In Halloween Town, you can glide over to this open mouth area in Guillotine Square, get Dalmatian's chest and elixir here, and we move on to Moonlight Hill. In Moonlight Hill, after you defeat all of the enemies, because there's this stupid amount here, you can see the white trinity under me, go ahead and do this white trinity and you will get an item from it. Well, I mean, you always get an item for white trinities, but you know. But this one's important. Dalmatians. From here, if you continue all the way back to where Oogie Boogie's Manor once was, it's hard to tell when this enemy actually appears because normal enemies will spawn. So you can see I'm like, did I get it to spawn? If you haven't used the red trinity yet, it's a good indication because if the red trinity disappears from the ground in front of the gate and you haven't yet activated it, then you know that this enemy is here. After you defeat a certain amount of the first wave, or a couple of waves of enemies rather, it will spawn. And you can see I'm like very much not ready for it, and so I had to like pause and like do some recording stuff to make sure I had it on camera. After you defeat all of those, this guy will spawn. He'll actually drop down. This is the Chimera enemy. So the Chimera is basically a weird little puzzle boss. When you drain its main HP bar, it will release these colored orbs. Those colored orbs are the way that you actually damage this boss. Or, I mean, enemy. It's not really a boss. The only way to actually hurt it is to hit the colored orbs into its head, and that will drain its secondary HP bar. After you've hit all of the colored orbs, the main HP bar reappears, and you have to bring it down again. It's got quite a lot of HP actually, so it's actually kind of a fun fight. I'm not gonna lie, like it's not that annoying. I feel like some people find this thing really annoying to fight. I find it really fun, to be honest, especially because you get tech points from all the like little lights. You can see me like hitting it, and that's just because the orbs spawn really close to its body. So if you're right next to it when they spawn, you have a pretty good chance of hitting a bunch of the orbs back at its head like almost immediately. But you can't actually hurt its second HP bar just by hitting it. You do nothing with regular attacks. So regular attacks while it's in this form, and then once the orbs drop, try not to get hit by them, just try and smack them back to its head. It might be a good idea to not lock on at that point, but you know, whatever works, right? So in a minute here, we will actually kill it. You can get lucid gems from the flying enemies, which is kind of nice. It will spawn the flying guys infinitely throughout this fight, which is pretty nice. So you can see here, it's gonna die in just a moment after I hit that last orb. Oh, nope. I guess we'll go one more round. And there we go, we get the Blazing Stone. It's quite a grind to get enough Blazing Stones off of this, because you have to do it multiple times, and it's one of the longer fights. In Hollow Bastion, we're going to go take on the Invisible Soldiers. Now, these have actually appeared on us before, but I wanted to show the strategy for it. So starting from the Castle Chapel, if you go into this area where you fought Riku, and a large body and 3 wizards appear, you have the correct spawning rate. After 2 waves of enemies, you will get a wave that is Defenders. There's also an invisible soldier here. You can lock on to the invisible soldier, but you cannot do any abilities that target enemies. So like, for instance, the sliding dash ability doesn't work. You just sort of have to get close and attack, and keep attacking, because this thing will eventually disappear if you don't take it out here. And you can see it after the screen flashes white, it's just a normal soldier, take it out, and you get an energy stone. Now you can get up to 3 energy stones in this area by doing this. You can also get bright crystals from the dark balls and defenders that spawn here. Now, in this middle area, there's no invisible soldiers, so I just recommend taking him out. On the side areas here, there will be 2 defenders. I really recommend fighting these guys and beating them before you go into the middle area. On both sides, there will be defenders. This is just to, like, keep things relatively easier for you. Because you don't want, like, more enemies to spawn when you're chasing the invisible soldiers. The invisible soldiers will be moving around all over the place, and it's just kind of really annoying if you need to follow them all over the place. This is actually the last, I grinded on these guys quite a bit before I did this. This is the last set that I needed. After 2 waves of enemies, you will get 2 invisible soldiers that spawn and a wizard. I would go straight for the invisible soldiers because the wizard enemy is just not as important as killing these guys before they disappear. If you're really lucky and you get them in the same spot, you can get up to 3 energy stones before they disappear. So we're about to defeat one of them here, I think. There we go. He turned... Nope. I thought he turned visible. There he goes. Turns visible. Go ahead and wail on it. We get another energy stone. And the other one's right here, and I was like, ooh! So 3 energy stones. Not a bad deal. The next enemy that we need to go... Oh, and I should describe this. This is probably the easiest one to farm, because all you need to do is head out to the lift stop, go back to the castle chapel, and that room will respawn. So you can now go back to that room and start the process over again. In the end of the world, for one, we missed the chest here that I totally was oblivious to, a Mega Elixir. And 2, in this area where you fought the big waves of enemies, you can find Neo Shadows. Neo Shadows are basically just regular enemies, actually, but they have a couple of interesting mechanics to them. First of all, when you first start the fight, they'll just be like normal enemies. They won't really be that big of a deal. If you can stop them, it's really, really nice, but not always. Once you get them down to 3, they will start doing this peekaboo tactic where you basically have to play whack-a-mole with them. They will pop up out of the shadow in the ground, and you gotta hit them when they're there. If you hit them, they'll be susceptible to attacks for a short amount of time. They do hurt a lot, so be careful in this area. This will continue while there are 2. When you're down to 2, one of them will attack you normally, and the other one will grab you down from below. So you gotta be careful here. Once you're down to 1, things get a little bit more difficult, because if you don't kill him fast enough, he will go down into the ground and spawn more Neo Shadows, as in, like, you'll just have to fight an entire new group of them. So you can see they're, like, up there and ready, and this guy is invincible to the attacks that I'm making. So you actually have to defeat all of the new Neo Shadows that show up. I don't know if it's possible to kill this guy before the new Neo Shadows happen. Like, I truly don't know if you need to go through it all at once. But, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know how the last part of the fight works, but you'll have to go through it all again, and you can see the exact same stuff happening. There's 3 left, and now we're... Oh, no, there's 4 left, and now we're at the whack-a-mole stage, so I'm going to take out 2 of them, and then we'll get to the 2 stage where one will grab you, and the other one will fight you normally. Sometimes it's kind of really tough to get them. Goofy helps here, actually, surprisingly. And there we go. Second to last one down. Where's that last one? I'm looking for him. There he is. Again, get him before he spawns a whole new set. and you get a Stormy Stone for that. I think you do just have to straight up kill him before he spawns a whole new set of Neo Shadows, or else the fight will go on forever. If you want to reset these guys and get them to spawn again, just head over to this area and go back 2 screens essentially. So that's 1, this is 2, and now you can head back to the end of the world area and fight them all over again. Also, something that can spawn in this area, I got really lucky, is the white mushrooms. And they will have the full set of magic that you could possibly use. So you can see some of them are floating and you can use gravity on them. Some of them stop and you can use stop on them. Some of them are in the ground and you need to use cure. You can get all of the arts in this area. You just have to be a little patient because some of them take forever to cycle through the entire arts collection. It's a little difficult. I actually didn't get any arts in this time because they kept doing different things. I also wanted to show in Traverse Town, after we, this is actually the first footage that I recorded, I actually managed to get the Defender off of these guys. Goofy has not been using it because the shield that we got in End of the World is actually better than the Defender. But there we go, just to show proof I got it from grinding. These guys are also great to grind and get money from. And I did that to the point where we had a bunch of money. Unfortunately, I missed getting the achievement for money on camera, so that did happen. We got over 10,000 money in our inventory, and I bought the rest of the weapons and synthesized as much as I could early on. So this is a little bit of the synthesis that we did early on. We will come back to the rest of the synthesis that we did in just a minute. I want to show you guys the Sniper Wild. Probably the worst enemy in the game to farm. If you go into the second district and enemy spawn, just leave. We've already seen this once, but I want to show you sort of the strategy to how to deal with them. It's really annoying. I actually hate these enemies. I think that they are the worst, in my opinion. Especially if you don't have a lot of MP, because stop does not last very long. If they sue you, you will have to leave the area and try again. Like, even if they just see you, not if they fight you or anything. It's really annoying. You have to stop them because they, you know, become stopped and they won't be able to do anything. So you have to play this like game of cat and mouse with them where you wait until they separate. After you defeat 1, 2 will spawn. And after you defeat 2, oh, and you can see me here, I'm like, oh no, I messed up. Because I didn't have enough MP. Make sure you have enough MP to cast stop on them. If you fail, they will spawn infinitely and just attack you until either you die or you leave the district. So, heal up, come back and try again. To do this, stop them. Defeat them before they can alert anything. 2 will spawn. Once 2 are spawned, try and get them to be a little bit away from each other. Stop does not last very long on them. This might be the time where you have to start using ethers on yourself if you're running low on MP. I know I did because I didn't even think to equip items that would give me more MP like I did with the pink mushroom. But oh well, that's probably the way I'm going to do it later on. It's sort of like a toss-up between whether or not you want a lot of strength to try and kill them really quickly, or you want a lot of MP so that the stop lasts longer. I truly don't know which way is the best. And like the cat and mouse game you gotta play so that they don't see you, because they just roam the area randomly. Although sometimes you could get lucky and you can see like one of them has gotten stuck on the wall there, so it actually is totally safe to walk behind them because they won't be able to see you. So there's 1 taken care of. Don't go out of the area like I almost did here. Stop it when it gets close. One combo should be good enough at this level. And then it will spawn 3 of them. This is probably the hardest part of this because, again, you have to stop them and defeat them before they call anything. You have to do this. There's no chance that you can get the item that they drop otherwise. You have to defeat all 3 waves. It's really annoying, actually. So again, play the cat and mouse game. Wait until they get a little bit further away from each other, which happens sometimes, but they stay like relatively close, which is kind of annoying. But sometimes you can get lucky and they will just get sort of stuck in an area. I think that's what happens here for me as well. Like, that one just gets stuck up on the wall here. And I decide to go for it. I get lucky that the stun impact actually hit it. That one got really close to me, and I don't know how it didn't see me, so I was like, alright, well, let's just take it out real quick. And then I'm left with one. One is not that difficult to deal with, just make sure you're keeping track of where it is. For safety, you can use an elixir and an ether to make sure you've got enough to stop it twice if you need to. Or just equip more MP stuff so that your stop lasts longer. Go down to it. Once you defeat it, you will get a power stone. Now here's the kicker. Once you defeat it, you can start the thing over again. It will spawn one, and you can just do it all over again. I didn't do it there. I messed up. Let's look at the Dalmatian rewards we're going to get, because we got all the Dalmatians already. And so once you have 100, you can come back, and you'll get this extra little cutscene of all the Dalmatians being happy in the house. Look at all the puppies. Oh god, I bet you it would be amazing there. Just like lay on the floor and let them crawl all over you. Look at the puppies. So many Dalmatians. And Pongo and Perdita are happy. So happy, in fact, that the reward you get for this is an Orichalcum, Ultimate G, Tech Boost, and you get the final upgrade for Arrow, and the Complete Gumi Collection. Now what that means, the Complete Gumi Collection is actually stuff we had already bought, which are these like system upgrades and comm upgrades. It's nothing else. You also get like sprays and pallets and stuff, but you don't get the blueprints, is what I'm trying to say. We also go back and synthesize a bunch more items. I can't believe that you can synthesize AP ups. I might need to do that until I max out my AP, but that would be such a problem. But we need to synthesize everything here. We're close. We almost got another achievement there. So we are going to do a couple of things in the Olympus Coliseum just to pad out the time in this episode a little bit, because in the next episode we're going to try a new thing in the Olympus Coliseum, the Hades Cup that has appeared. But before we do that, let's do the time trial for the not the Hercules Cup, the Pegasus Cup, because we never did that before. And now that we can kill things in pretty much 1 or 2 hits, it's a lot easier. I always go for power over anything else for the Olympus sections, just because the quicker you can kill the enemies, the quicker you're gonna get through that time limit. And again, sorry about the like weird audio glitches that happen. My capture was not playing nice with me during all this. Well, sometimes it was, but not here apparently. The next episode will actually have live commentary going through it. Will not have post-commentary like I am here, because, again, we're going through the Hades Cup. And it's something that we haven't yet seen, so I just want to go from the outset with that in mind. Oh, my lord. Unfortunately, I don't think we're quite strong enough to do the Hercules Cup in the time trial yet, but we will have to do it eventually. I think you even have to do the Hades Cup in the time trial eventually, which is absurd. Although I think you get a lot more time for that. You don't get just 3 minutes. Here's what I wanted to talk about. You might want to turn off Donald's ability to use time magic in the time trial, because it will just waste your time. That was the biggest waste of time in this entire thing for me, and it really, really messed with me. Because all the other enemies are just, you know, they're enemies. It's not the end of the world. It's not that bad. But man, him casting stop on them, and because he has a ton of MP and we have Stopra at this point, wow, it really messed with my time because it lasted a long while. Goofy is really happy. these black fungus that we can finally take out normally. Because it only takes us, I think, a couple of combos now. And Stun Impact will actually stun them, so not a bad idea to have that equipped as well. So, they won't, if you could kill them before they even turn metal, you're totally good in the time trial here. It's probably the hardest thing to do, to be honest. Pots and barrels, we already know this. They're going to die very quickly because all of them just explode. Keep an eye out for any that get knocked off to the side, because they're probably the most annoying. So we got a minute and a half left and 2 more seeds to go through? Yes. Try not to waste too much time on this large body seed, because you really want to save as much as you can for Leon and Yuffie. They're not impossible or anything, it's just, with both of them, and with how much HP Leon has, it can get a little dicey at times, just looking at how much time you have left. I, in fact, thought I was not going to get the time trial in this, because I was like, ooh, I have a minute and 9 seconds left, that should be fine. I get really down to the wire here. So I always go for Leon first because he's got the bigger health bar. It might be a better idea to go for Yuffie. Leon cannot be stunned by Stun Impact, but Yuffie, in fact, can. So sometimes you get lucky and Yuffie will come in to try and attack you while you're fighting Leon, and will actually stun herself just because she's within the range of Stun Impact. That's probably one of the best things that you can have happen. And I, like, dumbly try to slide over to Leon a bunch of times. I should have just rolled over. Just, you know, make sure and keep yourself healed. You don't want to get taken out during this fight, obviously. Stop trying to slide towards him. Just roll towards him. And you can see I'm, like, panicking here. I'm like, oh god, I have less than 30 seconds and I still haven't touched Yuffie. And Leon still has an entire health bar. And I got really scared. I'm like, oh no, 16 seconds to defeat Yuffie. There's no way. But Yuffie's health bar is very low, and you see she gets stunned pretty easily. It might not be a bad idea to go for Yuffie at first, and try not to knock her too far. But with 2 seconds exactly left, we defeat Yuffie. I don't know how I got that in at the very end there. You get a dark matter for completing this. And no, we don't want to start over. I don't care. We did it once, we're good. We're gonna take a quick little save here. And then we are going to try the Solo Hercules Cup. Which we actually do really easily, I'm not gonna lie. It's not that bad. I don't know if we could do the time trial just yet, just because Hercules actually takes more time than you would expect to do properly. But, you know. Overall, it's not that bad of a fight. Okay. Fighting most of these enemies, I mean, we've already seen most of this before. We're at a power level where we can take out most of these things in one hit. So, it's really not that big of a deal. The couple of things that you want to make sure of when you're looking through this are the Buccaneer enemies, the big ships that appear, because they're a little bit dangerous sometimes, and Cloud in the middle of this. I totally forgot that Cloud was in the middle of this, and I was a little bit not prepared, to be perfectly honest. I was like, oh crap. But as you can see, we've already gained like 2 level ups by doing this. The Hades Cup in particular is an amazing place to get level ups. Just grind here. Honestly, because there's no there's no penalties for losing, you know, you just go back out and you have to restart the cup. It's not that big of a deal. This is one of the best places to grind in the game. You're not going to use any resources. There's a free heal right outside of it. You don't have to worry about enemies respawning and going to other portions of the map. I really like the Coliseum for leveling up. I think it's actually a little bit better than Traverse Town, but Traverse Town does have defenders, which are much more XP than the enemies here. It's a big toss-up. I think I'm gonna do my grinding here and just equip EXP earrings I'll sacrifice a little bit of strength just to get that extra EXP boost, not gonna lie. So the rare truffle, I just attack it. I mean, I guess you could go arrow with it, but it's sort of like a trap here because you're gonna be fighting Cloud soon. And you don't really want to waste your MP. I think it's a little like, because Cloud right afterwards, and it's like, okay. Alright. So Cloud is a little difficult, but alone, I actually find him easier than with party members because he's not quite as aggressive. He's very methodical, and it's a little bit easier. Doing the time trial for this cup is really kind of hard. It's a little annoying. It's... How do I explain this? Cloud during the time trial is a problem because he takes quite a bit of effort to fight. It takes quite a bit of time, so you really want to make sure that you're saving as much of your energy and time as you can for Cloud and for Hercules. Those are the two biggest problems.
Farewell. This should help.
I don't really have that much to say about Cloud. I'm like, just make sure you avoid him when he does his winged attack and flies around and gets all annoying. Oh my lord. His just spamming of that attack is so annoying. After we're done with this, we are going to go into the next, into the Hades Cup. Now, the Hades Cup is very different. The Hades Cup is 50 seeds instead of 10. It's very difficult, actually. But if you make it through all 50 seeds, it's very useful. So, once you're defeated with Cloud, or done with Cloud, the rest of the enemies really aren't a problem. Just try and save as much MP as you can for Hercules, just in case you get hit by Hercules. It's not that big of a deal. This is probably one of the more dangerous things that you can deal with when you have both of the ships in the air, but if you take them out quickly, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Remember to actually jump, unlike I did there, to attack it in the air. And the last seed should be Hercules himself. I don't know how I'm gonna do Hercules in the time trial. I don't remember, but I think it's still just 3 minutes. I don't know if I can do that. I need to look this up. Because it's an insane... Maybe you get 5 minutes here?
Hey, give up yet?
So just remember to keep your distance from him. Don't get hit. If he starts doing his swinging thing, just move away from him. Yeah.
Come on.
It's not that bad.
Come on.
Unfortunately, the time trial, I think it used to have like a really useful glitch that you could exploit. The glitch being, if you if you restart the time trial, or just hit the restart thing in the menu, when you're fighting Hercules, it'll reset your timer. So you get like a whole 10-minute or a whole 3 minutes to fight Hercules on his own. But I don't think that's a thing here. But Hercules isn't that bad on your own. I mean, it's a solo fight from the first place anyway, so it's not that bad. You get critical plus for beating it alone. And next time we're gonna try the Hades Cup. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and next time will be a normal episode. See you guys then. Bye-bye.